Go to my website. It's iamfit.idlife. ID Life, let's go. I'm approaching 50. It's time to get those nutrients and enzymes that you're missing out on. Get them with ID Life.
You're watching On the Mark with Marc Clarke, a weekly show. Call in right now.
All righty then. You heard the man.
Get them with ID Life.
The voice of God, Marcel, tuning us in.
You're watching On the Mark with Marc Clarke,
my
a
guest
weekly
today
show. Call in right now.
Hold on. All righty then. You heard the man.
Get them with ID Life.
The voice of God, Tony Marcel, is my guest. Tuning us in.
You're watching On the Mark with Marc Clarke,
my
a
guest
weekly
today
show.
A little fight going on.
And it's official. We're on.
Welcome to the show. This is On the Mark with Marc Clarke. Tony Scott, don't be scared, Tony. This is the internet, Tony. This is the new wave of the future.
That's what it is, man.
Yeah, man. You know, we didn't get a chance to pay the full staff this week, so they're acting up a little bit. But man, welcome to the show, man. It's On the Mark with Marc Clarke, my special guest, lifelong friend. Well, not lifelong. If we're honest,
I was like your best friend. Now I'm your lifelong friend, man. What happened? Did I get promoted?
No, I'm just saying. I don't even say lifelong because it's not life. We've known each other since you were in your 30s. I was in my 20s.
Yeah, but I'm not dead.
But you know, when you say lifelong, wouldn't that be like your whole life? No.
I was like your best friend. I don't know, man. I'll be with. You're my brother, man.
That's right, my brother Tony Scott. And Tony, you look good in that pink, man. I see what you're doing, man.
This is peach, actually. It's the lighting that makes it look pink. It's actually
my bad.
Peach shirt.
My bad.
Yes.
Well, and Tony, you look good, man. The 20 pounds you've lost, I apparently have picked up. Thank you. So, man, you looking good, man.
You know, we've always shared. We've always shared our everything, man. So you know, I thought I'd throw my pounds I've lost toward you, man. Oh, but you look good, man. Everything's good. Everything's fantastic.
So for those who don't know, because I posted the other day, I'm going to be talking to Tony Scott. So my Baltimore crew was like, "Who's Tony Scott?" Well, look, Tony Scott is, you know, if not only my best friend, but a radio legend from St. Louis. We did mornings in St. Louis for quite some time. Tony was there for 25 years.
Yes, sir.
And there, me and Troy, we cut our teeth. We learned from, we became close to and friends with Tony Scott. And, you know, Tony, after I fell on hard times for about 6 years, Tony fell on hard times too.
Yes,
for like 6 months. So Tony had his hard times were short-lived, but more dramatic. Tony did more in his short time than I did in my 6 years. But we have tasted the bitter taste of unemployment.
Mm-hmm.
We've also tasted the victory of having faith in God and coming back and being on the radio, the thing that we love so much. Mm-hmm. Tony, was there a time if I'm honest, I'm still in that phase, to be honest. There was a time during my unemployment when I was like, yo, I guess this radio thing's a wrap. Did you ever have that feeling?
No, because I think I was born to do this. It was just a matter of whether it was on the radio or it was going to be something that was web-based or something like that. I just knew that something was going to happen. I just had to keep my head down and keep going. But I remember you and I had a conversation when you told me that you thought radio might be a rap, and I think I might have cussed you out. I don't remember.
You were hurt.
Because to me, you're way more talented than I am.
Go, Tony.
And so it's just kind of like one of those things where you just got to keep pushing, and you got to keep, you may not realize it, but when you were between gigs for about 6-7 years, man, you know, full-time gigs, you were doing things, man. You probably just didn't realize it, and because there there was no fruit coming from it at the time. Because, you know, when you're unemployed, you want to plant that seed and you want that harvest like in 3 hours.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's a good point. And I got messages over the years, people saying that, and you're absolutely right, Tony. I didn't really realize this. People were saying, "Hey, man, I'm just so impressed with all you keep doing different things." And then, I was, you look back, you're like, "Wow, I didn't." Yeah. At the time, I was dying.
I mean, yeah, but you were doing, you started, you would start and stop, and I would tell you to keep going, and because I just think you're brilliant. I just think your mind is so fast, and it's like, I tell people that I work with here that when, I did the morning show, I was a straight guy, and they say that's incredible. I says, no, you'd have to understand who I work with. I said, because he was funny. So I was a straight guy, and he was the funny guy, and they were like, that didn't make any sense because they say you're funny. I'm like, nah, I'm not funny like the guy I work with though. Guy I work with was incredible, but it's just a matter of
okay.
And I think you and I and Troy Johnson, who's also part of what we do. When we talked before, we were like, we have great ideas. Our problem is execution of the infrastructure, because we're talent people. We're not infrastructure people. Right. We could be, but we're just not wired that way. So our patience in that area is very small. And what I've learned and am learning with this internet thing, with vlogging and videos and YouTube and all that, it's more than a one-man show.
Yeah.
You actually need somebody who can edit videos for you and can do another person who can do social media and marketing for you that understands, SEOs. It's a whole complicated thing. And you think about it.
I'm sorry, sir. SEOs?
Huh?
SEOs, what's that, brother?
Search engine optimization.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that.
Help you rank higher, when people look for, keywords. And I mean, it's a whole thing that it makes my head explode. But you have to be on it. And it's hard. It's been hard for me to learn because that's not my realm. I'm a creator. I'm not a marketer,
Yeah.
But the problem is that you need people. You got to pay these people to do this for you. And then that's the rub.
That's the rub. And,
I mean, if your talent, and if I knew how to do marketing, social media marketing, we'd be a lot further than we are. But neither one of us are that great at that part of it. So.
Well, that's why we have Marcel. Marcel. Hey, by the way, this is a sidelight to producer. Marcel's acting as producer today.
Keep my name out of it, guys. Keep my name out of it, please. Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Just kidding.
Mac Daddy. Mac Daddy, our producer today. Mac Daddy, I noticed on Periscope it's kind of in a loop. Should I come out and go back on? I'm just checking on Periscope.
No, you're fine. Everything's fine from my end. You're good.
Okay. All right. Well, so yeah, Tony. So Tony Scott again, friend and radio guy who I was basically worked together in St. Louis for about 6 years, Tony.
Yeah.
And then I got married and moved on to Baltimore. And Tony stayed.
We were in St. Louis trucking right along, man. And then this beautiful young lady named Allison Seymour showed up in St. Louis.
Oof, man.
And I remember you guys did an event together, and on a Saturday, and on Monday you said, "I think I found the one." I was like, "Well, you found the one. You just met her 2 days ago. What are you talking?" But you knew, and I remember, being sad when you decided to move east and leave the show because, you're my best friend and we work together every day and we were very close and we worked very well together. But the big picture was, because of how I felt about you, is that I just wanted you to be happy. And if you were going to be happy being with her, then that's where you needed to be. She's an incredible woman. She is. She's just an incredible woman and a mother and a wife, and she's patient. And she the thing is that she gets you. Like my wife gets me. She understands me. She understands that I'm quirky, and Allison is the same way with you. Because people who do what we do for a living on the level that we're at, we require a special person in our life who just says, you know what, that's just how he is. And that's incredible.
I like how you said that, Tony, at the level that we're at. Go ahead, player.
How quickly that happened for you. I think that was just awesome.
I was saving up. I was, when you, I was efficient with my my method when it came to love. A lot of people they plant a lot of seeds. I didn't plant a lot of seeds.
Yeah.
I only planted like three or four trees. So I knew when the bush was right, I could tell which bush was right.
Well, I don't want to get into the bush, man, but you know.
So Tony, I leave, I go to Baltimore, you stay, St. Louis. I mean, the company you work for is crap, as most of these companies are crap. And you ended up landing, talk about God is good. First of all, Tony found God, which was, if you ever knew Tony Scott, Tony was the guy when you tried to pray, he would interrupt your prayer and say, "Hey, what you looking at?"
Because you had your head down. I was like, what you looking at?
That was one of Tony's classics. But, you know, I think with the passing of your father, Tony, God kind of spoke to you, and you kind of...
Well, you know what? It goes back before that. You know, a few years before my father passed away, my parents went through Hurricane Ike in Galveston and lost everything. And I just remember the night the hurricane hit Galveston, my parents they evacuated about 30 miles from there. And I just remember it was like 3 or 4 in the morning. And I just remember coming downstairs at my house and looking out my window and just telling God, you know, you get them through this safely, and I'll be your soldier forever. And he did. And I've been, you know, singing his praises really ever since. But after my father passed away, I got closer to God, because I remember my father being in the last week of his life. He was in the hospital. He was really sick. And I remember it was like a Wednesday. And they said that, you know, my father had an aneurysm on his aorta, but he was too frail for them to do anything about it. So they said it's going to pop very soon. And when it pops, it'll be about 30 seconds and he'll be gone. He'll never feel any pain, you know. And I just knew he was miserable. He didn't know that about his aorta, the aneurysm, but he was just tired. Because he had a lot of other issues. And I just remember going to the chapel at the hospital and talking to God and says, you know what, if you're going to take him, take him. You know, I know that he hasn't seen his mother, who passed away in 1938. And so if you're going to take him, take him. I'm going to miss him. I love him. You know, maybe I shouldn't be saying this to you, you know, because, you know, my mother married my father when she was 15 years old. And when he died, she was 70. And so, you know, and I just remember telling, you know, God, if you're going to take him, take him. And that following Saturday, 3 days later, he was gone. The last thing I told my father, it was a Friday night at the hospital. I was going back to St. Louis on Saturday. And I said, you know, you're my hero, right? And he said, yeah, I do. I said, you know, I love you, right? He said, yeah. I said, all right, man. I said, I'll see you. That was the last thing I ever said to him was I love you. And I got great peace from that. Because the last thing I told the most important man in my life was that I loved him, and if you can't get peace from that, you know. But I felt for my mother, because, you know, my mother whispered in my father's ear that, you know, if it's too much, you can go. It's okay. You know, I'll be all right. And, you know, my father, you know, told me and my sisters that last week that your mother is not to want for anything. And so we've kept our word, his word, our promise to him, and we've taken care of her the best that we can, and she's doing fine. But that got me really close to God. But then when I got let go in St. Louis after 25 plus years, and you know, I take care of my family like you take care of yours. And so, you know, I was trying things, and, you know, and staying prayed up, and you know, it took a while, you know. And I remember when the job I have now came open in January of 2015, my wife claimed it. I didn't even know what that meant. I was like, she did. I was like, what the hell does that mean? I don't know what that means. And this woman like took logos of the radio station that I wasn't even working for, and she printed them, and she taped them to the bathroom mirror. She taped them to the refrigerator. She taped it to the dashboard of my truck, and hand to God, it's still there. I never took it down. It's still there. It took 6 months to get this job. And when I got it, we were very happy. And, you know, it was the day after Father's Day of 2015. And I started, my first day was July 13th of 2015. And here I am working for an incredible company. And I remember talking to a woman named Tawanda Story, and she told me you should prepare yourself because God's going to blow your mind.
Hey, welcome to Mid on Scandal. This is our.
And he did, and he put me, back in radio in a bigger city, working for a company that is, to say
The
it's
best.
incredible would be an understatement, right? And I just, it was by, staying, prayerful and God smiling. And I really believe that God was like, you know what? I sent you to St. Louis to become the man that I wanted you to be. Yeah, you fumbled the ball a couple of times, okay? But you became the man I wanted you to be, and now I got something bigger for you. So he put me in Dallas, which is like 4 times bigger than St. Louis as far as market size goes. And I'm on in the afternoon here from 2 to 7, and have had pretty good success so far. And the people I work for are so supportive. They like celebrating the victories. I'm talking about managers,
Yes.
Managers like celebrating the victories, and the ratings come out. My boss calls me on my cell phone and he goes, yo, you just had to know what happened. And he tells me the whole story, and he's like, it's incredible. And he's like, you came here and you really done more than, we thought possible, and you've taken it to, you've made it your own, and we're proud of you. He hasn't said that 1 time or 2 times or 3 times. He tells me this all the time, and it's like I never worked for anybody like that,
Right.
And and our sister station, the guy that's on when I'm on our hip hop station, Bebe, he told me, he said, man, you ain't never gonna work for another radio station because you ain't never gonna want to leave.
Yeah. No.
He's right. This company is incredible, and it's all by the grace and mercy that I believe of God, because, and the thing is, and I was talking to Sean Andre, who does our Quiet Storm last night. I'm on this God tangent and that, just like talking about him, but I just, and it's funny because it's like you think that God, because you haven't prayed to him, talked to him in so many years, you've run away from him and done ratchet things or whatever, but now you need him, and now you feel bad because you need him now, but you ignored him for so long. But you know what? He doesn't even care about that. He died for the sins that you committed doing these ratchet things. All he wants you to do is talk to him, and he wipes the slate clean every day. Every day he forgives you, because he wants you to love him, and because he loves you, and he wants you to have the great things in life. And once you recognize that and receive that, it takes a lot of pressure off of you. Really does.
Well, and Tony, it's so funny because when we talked to Big Daddy about what the show is going to be about, it's going to be about us reconnecting and kind of sharing what you're doing, and we might get into some pop culture, but then of course it turned into this, and it's great, Tony, because I think the conclusions that you've come to about your religion, God, whatever your belief is, it's based on your experience, right? And so, as you know, my father-in-law, who's an amazing person, I just lost my mother-in-law last weekend. Mm-hmm. And the teachings that I came into, what you're saying is what, they've been, teaching the whole life. And what you said, man, what you just said about what Deshauna claimed it, right? Mm-hmm. The part that I want people to watch this to understand is, and like you said, Tony, I think a lot of us are raised, I wasn't, but a lot of people are raised in church with a guilt consciousness. So the guilt part always makes them, like you said, Tony, when they're being ratchet or when you're doing wrong, some people are bathed in guilt all the time. Now, my father-in-law will say, and I always said that what you just said, God has given you everything you need. All he wants you to do is go for it, is to understand the power that you have. Just like Deshauna claimed that job, you're from where you from, Texas somewhere? You're from Galveston, Texas. I'm from Springfield, Illinois. We've had these careers that we dreamed about. And what did we do? We went for it. Mm-hmm. And so now, as people who have benefited and been through the dark and then came back, our testimony speaks volumes. But my father-in-law, when he was in the hospital, and I saw him take a turn for the worse. I grew up around older people, so I know that thing when death's around. And I saw Dad take that turn, and I actually was weird. They had moved him out of intensive care and kind of put him in a holding room, and he took a turn, but nobody was around. So I happened to be there when he took the turn. I told them, and they were able to take care of him. So I asked Dad, so Dad, what did you see when you were on the other side? He said it confirmed everything we've been talking about. And what is that? Jesus is the way shower and the guide. So those same powers that Jesus has, you have. But most people don't know it. Jashana, in that moment, she used her powers out of desperation. And that's what happens. Like you said, Tony, when we're desperate, we pray, we beg, we whatever, as opposed to saying, I want this, and going for it. So people don't really, I think our lives are an example of we didn't know it either. Right. We wanted to do radio. We went for it just as the solo goal. That's all we want to do this. And we've done it. And so now you look up, we're in our 50s and approaching 60, and we've had this long career. We have this amazing family, and it all started as a concept or dream in our minds that came to truth. And so for those who are listening, who are stuck in dead-end jobs, dead-end relationships, it starts with your mind. What do you want? Start thinking about that thing you want, and let God know, or Allah, or the universe start speaking it. I think we owe it to the world to share our testimony, not from a religious standpoint, just a life standpoint. That at the end of the day, Tony, growing up in our little small towns, we have really done our life what we wanted to do.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't really think about it, but it happens. So I think it really is important that we just keep sharing that message. And again, like right now, everything your company is, my company isn't. Everything your company is, my company is not. But it's not about my company. It's really about me. And Marcel, or Mac Daddy, who's been, you too, Tony, when you said be consistent, keep doing it, there's a way to have this success and not depend on a company.
Yeah, but that's true.
You have to have the drive. Yeah. You have to be consistent. You have to stick to it. And if you do that, it's not even a question mark of will it. It will.
Amen.
It will. But you have to believe it and have to go for it.
Amen. I just had to say amen.
I talked not too long ago to Lee Michaels, who was on with Marcel. I watched and was a great Periscope. But we talked about the people in the industry who lost their jobs because of syndication, because of deregulation of our business, because of the last time the economy crashed, and a lot of great announcers lost their jobs. And my point has always been, but the internet has leveled the playing field. I mean, you're not going to make what you were making out the gate, but the potential to make that money is there. But you have to recreate yourself. You have to reinvent yourself. And the tools to do that are now within reach. It used to be, if you wanted to be on the radio, you had to work at a radio station. If you wanted to be on TV, you had to work at a TV station. And it's not like that anymore with YouTube, with podcasting, things like that. The thing is that you have to, what is your, radio is your passion, but what do you love to talk about? And this is my message to the jocks, male and female, who are on the outside looking in, and they deserve to be in. So, but here's the deal. You got to do it yourself now, and you can, but you have to talk about, you have to get together with your thoughts, maybe a circle around you, maybe create something and put it all together and put it on. And you got to keep working it and massaging it and making it right, molding it like clay and stuff like that. But to give up and to take a job working in retail, and there's nothing wrong with working in retail, but that's not what you were put here for, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, I will help you. I will help.
You know what? Speaking of that, Tony, Marcel, Mac Daddy is hopping in to comment on this. Marcel, are you there?
Yeah. I just wanted to add one thing, and man, I'm sitting here listening to you guys, man, and I'm about to cry, so I got some tissue, right?
Man up, man.
No, but really, it's like, man, you guys are speaking right to me. You know what I mean? And I'm one of those people who, I got out of. I don't call myself getting out of radio, but I kind of stepped back from it and started to develop my own thing, and I've never been happier. And I want people to understand that the time is now. And you can really do, especially when it comes to radio, you can do everything you wanted to do and more by just simply doing it. It's just that simple. And everything has changed. Even with, you guys know with terrestrial radio, everything has changed, But the time is now to do your own thing and not, as great as it's going for you, Tony, it's still, this is the best time in the world to start to still forge your own thing, to make your own thing happen, independent of that. It's great to have that, but still, I would tell anyone, if you're working for someone and it's great, still, that's the best time to set your own self up. So I just wanted to.
Marcel, also, as Tony, I don't know if Tony's aware of that announcement you made on your site the other day about YouTube. Are you aware of this, Tony?
No.
Which one?
Marcel?
I made a few.
No.
Which one exactly are you talking about? With
about
YouTube having a new app?
Their new thing?
Yeah, for example, like with Periscope, and then you've got the Facebook Live. Well, YouTube is Google, right? It's huge.
Right. Second largest search engine after Google is YouTube.
Right. So they're far bigger. I mean, they have a phone operating system, Android. Okay. So what does that tell you? But they've been sitting back and allowing for Periscope and Meerkat and Facebook to do their thing. And now they're popping up, and it has the potential to kill those platforms or really, dampen them, make them dim or whatever. And what they're going to do is they're going to have YouTube Connect, which means you'll be able to do a live stream on YouTube. You'll be able to have the overlay where people can connect with you. But moreover, the API is open where you can add that into your app. You can it'll feed across platforms. Already, YouTube, you can put a link into Facebook and it'll play, right? You can put it into Twitter and it'll play right on the Twitter format. So you'll be able to put that link or embed it in places everywhere, and there's no need for these closed platforms like Periscope that only plays live on Periscope. I want to go live on Periscope and everywhere else, including my own app or website. So that's going to be a game changer, and with that, it's going to elevate it to an entirely different level. So just wanted to add my little 2 cents, man. But you guys are incredible, man.
It's changing. And the thing is that ladies and gentlemen who have been in radio, 20, 25 years, 10, 15 years, whatever, you find yourself for whatever reason on the outside looking in, your fault, not your fault, whatever. Now's the time to really get involved. Even what Marcel's doing right now, Marcel is acting as a producer for this stream, and he's provided the infrastructure that allowed this to happen. I mean, that's a service right there. That's a service there that you could be done. Virtual producer. I mean, come on, think about it.
Well, and Tony, as we're doing this is on my app, this is on YouTube, this is on Facebook, and this is on Periscope, and Periscope as we speak. And people can actually call in if you wanted to talk to Tony and you're watching. Actually, 877-482-7898. If you want to talk to Tony, I was looking at the wrong Periscope, Marcel.
You saw a
loop. I was
loop.
looking at the old broadcast.
I was like, "What is he talking about?"
I'm looking at it on YouTube and Periscope right now, and it looks incredible. And Marcel, you do such a great job with this, and I know that it's only going to get better because there's going to be more technology, and he's on top of that. And I'm looking at it on Periscope now, and see the hearts right here, and I see it on YouTube. I haven't checked it out on Facebook yet, but to be able to do a quadcast, a tricast, or whatever like that is incredible. To be on multiple platforms like that, it just goes to show there's room for you. Even if you've never been in radio, but you've wanted to be in broadcasting, now is your time.
And yes. Let me just say this too. As we talk about broadcasting, and I bring this up all the time, guys like you and Mark, Tony, and I've been in radio for 25 years as well, but we understand broadcast communications. You can call this a podcast, you can call it a vlog or a blog or whatever, but it's broadcasting. That's what it is. And we know the principles of broadcasting. And when you apply, because some of those or a lot of those principles still apply. I don't care, and we come to the table with that. So we should be sharing what we know with those folks out there, even the ones who feel like they kind of know it all about the internet because, that's been in for 2 years. I think we should feel free to share that information as well. I think it'll help a lot of people, and it'll help help us as well.
Sure. Well, and it's funny, Marcel, you said that, because I think the funny thing about like this world is like everything else. Like it's almost like we're musicians, and then Berry Gordy starts his record label and comes in to us seasoned musicians and says, "Hey, y'all, play this, blah 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 blah." And we're like, "Wait a minute." Do you want quarter notes? What key is the, and so it's the same thing I think with this. The technology is there are people who are kicking our ass as far as views and likes go, right? Yeah. But as you watch their thing, you're like, man, it could be better if they just, if you just kind of, they don't know, they have something that people like watching, but they don't know how to fine tune it. But it's almost like you said, Marcel, it's like on one hand, it's a way you approach, So again, if you're watching us right now and you do want some information, just hit us, because I'll give it. But you don't want to come off as, hey, let me tell you something. And they're like, yeah, Mr. 40 likes. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, it's not about that. It's about teaching what we know. Tony La Russa is a Hall of Fame baseball manager, but he sucked as a ball player. So I mean, come on, man. It's just a matter of what you can learn from somebody. You may learn something from us that you can apply and mold and make your own. That's the whole key. I mean,
Now, Tony, speaking of that, so Marcel and those watching, again, as I'm a disciple of Tony. I'm a disciple of Marcel. I think we're disciples of each other. Troy. Now, what Tony did, what I so respect that I didn't do, I've been inconsistent. Marcel and Tony have always said, be consistent. What Tony did when he got the gig in Dallas, which has made a huge ripple and made a huge difference, is he does content every day. And by doing that, he's inspired everybody else in the company on both stations to step up their game. Let's take a quick look at Tony's Tea, which Tony does every day in Dallas.
Hey, it's time for Tony's Tea. A look at some entertainment headlines that grabbed my attention today. Congratulations, Kerry Washington and her husband, Nnamdi Asomugha, who are expecting their second child. Their daughter, Isabella, is 2 years old. I saw a picture of her at the White House Correspondents' Center this past weekend, and she kind of looked pregnant, but then I figured the camera angle, I'm crazy, maybe not, but apparently it's true, so congratulations. Rodney Dixon claims he won the rights to every Prince song ever wrote by Prince in a bet over whether Prince was the Messiah. The administrator of the estate, Bremer Trust Bank, is calling BS on this whole thing, saying that the dude's claim is frivolous and that he would need to have a written agreement to transfer ownership of Prince's catalog, and all Rodney has is a verbal and implied agreement. Kind of hard to prove that one, huh, Rodney? And in other Prince news, 5 of Prince's 6 living siblings were in a Minnesota court today and gave their consent as a judge signed off on a special administrator to oversee Prince's business. The hearing went all of 10 minutes. Prince's brother, John Nelson, did not attend, and no one knows why. Coming up, I got some Martin Lawrence tickets at 5:40, but that's the Tea on Smooth R&B 105.7.
The Tea, do you do that? Is that you in real time, or do you record that? Is that mic even? That mic's not even a part of it. It's just the image.
No, I recorded, but there's the secret behind the microphone is I'm not using that microphone, but tucked right behind it on the arm of the microphone is a lavalier microphone. And so rather than me wear it, I just clip it to that and use that. And that's kind of like how that's done. But when I'm doing that, actually I'm recording it, but I actually am live. I'm doing it again an hour later, but this time live on the radio and on Periscope and on YouTube Live. I have this Android phone that you could broadcast live on YouTube just by hitting live broadcast when you open the camera app. So I figured, why not? So I do, and it did, and I put it up. The thing to be careful of is, you got to turn your music all the way down, not for feedback reasons when you're doing YouTube live, but like I forgot to turn it down one day last week and was playing Dear Mama by Tupac, and 15 minutes later, I get an email from YouTube saying somebody filed a copyright strike against me because I forgot to, and so I just chopped that part off and put it up and stuff. But yeah, you have to be careful because copyrighted music on YouTube will get you kicked off eventually. I mean, they kind of look at it like, okay, it was in the background because it doesn't sound like it was like on the mic, like for real. So, but I just take it down. I either delete it or I just edit that part out or delete the whole video. But you have to be careful with that. But yeah, so it's kind of a lot of different things like that I do.
It's interesting, like watching. We've all done mornings before, and a lot of times, I think I did entertainment when I was with you. But then I've done entertainment before. But if I'm honest, I like talking about entertainment, but I don't necessarily like doing the report. Mm-hmm. And but that's also something that's almost like, well, even though you don't like it, it still is an opportunity to brand something and do it your unique way. Shout out to Joe Claire in DC. He does the Cleasy Report, which is really funny. And a shout out to Guy Lambert, who the way he does his news, he does 3 things you should know, but he has sound effects and the way he does it. So, these are all opportunities, like you said, Tony. If you're a regular person, because people always approach you, hey man, I would love to get in the radio. They say I got a radio voice. Nowadays, it's more than that. If you have a presentation, you have a point of view, you have a unique take, this is your time. You can make millions because, like you said earlier, it's not about just being a broadcaster. It's like, what do you have to say? Mm-hmm. That's something else that is a challenge. Finding an angle that represents you authentically, but that you feel like doing every day, Well,
see, that's the difference, though, like, Mark, with you. Like, okay, you don't like reporting entertainment news, but you like talking about it. So here's the deal. Turn the camera on and talk about the entertainment stuff you want to talk about. Don't report it. Just talk about it. And because you have this ability to be able to put things in your own words and be able to say things and entertain and inform people at the same time. That's a gift that most people don't have. So don't report it. Tell me about it. And in radio, that's really what they want you to do now. They don't want you to report. They want you to talk about it. And I try to remind myself when I do my segment to talk more about it. Even my wife says when you comment on it, it's more entertaining than when you just report it.
Yeah. Well, I remember your adjustment to the camera and like doing it. You're like very comfortable now. But I remember when it first started, it was just different. It was different to be on to be in front of the camera. But you're right. And I think, again, for those who are thinking about doing something, really getting to your authentic self is the challenge. As Tony knows, I'm good at ad-libbing. I'm good at us having a conversation. My strength isn't necessarily either reading someone else's words or even reading words. You know what I mean? It ends up being, if you're comparing Marc Clarke, who's just talking about something, to Marc Clarke reading something, there's a big difference. And for those who know me, like Tony and Marcel, they're quick to be like, it's like, I don't necessarily love that. I like it this way. You know what I mean? So that was another challenge, because I think what had happened was, if it's entertainment news, like we're talking about Prince, I know a lot about Prince. You know what I'm saying? I have a take, I have a theory, I have this, I have that. So I can talk about Prince, period. But if I'm reading something.
What is your theory? Because some people say he was murdered. What do you think? Some people say it was reported he died of AIDS. It was reported he died of a drug overdose. It was.
Well, I think I'm waiting for the. I'm a conspiracy guy, Tony.
That's why I'm asking. Yeah, you're waiting for the autopsy.
Conspiracy wise, the biggest obvious thing is Prince just gained control of his whole library and then he dies. That's the obvious. Just like who else? Michael Jackson. In fact, everybody, Sam Cooke, dead. Otis Redding, dead. Prince, all these people, all these black folks that gain control over their library mysteriously die. Bob Marley. So that's one thing. But then the reports of now, I think you did too, Tony. Didn't we? We thought he had the hip surgery. Didn't you think I thought he had it, but
I thought he
they're
had
saying
it too.
he didn't have it.
But then they say because of his religious beliefs, he never had it. Is what my understanding was.
And
so
so
I don't know.
The thing about the thing about the stories is, like you said, the pain addiction for the hip thing could be. The AIDS thing is interesting. To have had AIDS in the 90s and it flare up and take you out, I don't know.
Well, who said he got it in the 90s, though?
Huh?
Who said he got it in the 90s?
Well, that's what, again, that story, though, remember, all these stories are all hype anyway because nobody knows.
Mm-hmm.
They have to get, you have to check and see what's going on. Like, did he suffer from epilepsy? He said he had epilepsy as a kid, but basically God healed it. And then the AIDS story, I think that's kind of a reach. And then they're saying the painkiller thing. Now, pharmaceutical drugs also a player in most celebrities who die. Pharmaceuticals a big deal. But again, if you look at Prince, the way he performs in concert and the way he moves and stuff, it's just hard to believe that guy was racked with. I mean, Michael Jackson, they say, was racked with pain, and Michael Jackson was a diminished, sick-looking Michael Jackson. You if you saw Michael move and dance, it wasn't Michael Jackson. Prince was Prince. Even though his last concert he was sitting at the piano, the couple nights before and whatever, he was giving you Prince. So I'm anxious to see.
You have to understand, I think, though, and I'm not talking directly to you, but I'm just saying in general, you have to understand that, those shows that Prince gave us starting in the late 70s, and the way he did his shows, he went all out, all to the wall, right? That had to take a toll on his body. Now, he was a small man, but he could have been The Rock. The size of The Rock and stuff, it still would have taken a toll on your body. What he did in concert will take a toll on your body. What Michael Jackson did, all that turning and all that shaking, that has an effect over a course of time. That does something to your hips, your knees, and your ankles. And it's just, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just saying that's the truth of the matter is, think about how long Prince, I was in high school when Prince came out, man. When Prince,
damn, Tony, you old, so damn it.
Was soft and wet, you know what I'm saying? I was in high school. It's like, damn. Yeah. So, I could understand the physical problems. And the thing that we have to remember is he was a man. He's flawed. We're all flawed. Okay. Yeah. If the man had an addiction to painkillers, he had an addiction to painkillers. If it killed him, it killed him. I don't know. I have no idea. I just know the man's gone. And then people say, why don't they let that man rest in peace? You know what? Wake the hell up. That ain't going to happen. We don't live in that world anymore. We don't live in that world when our celebrities die and it's under circumstances that are not normal as far as we know. There's no way he's going to rest in peace for. It's going to be a while before he rests in peace. So get over that.
And also why got
posts on Facebook? Well, you know what? Let me help you out here and unfollow your monkey ass, okay? Because you're not understanding how this works. It's like, this is everywhere.
Well, the thing that's interesting about Prince is special is that feeling that, I know I had. I used to, I tell people in New York, Tony, my running joke. Now when I play Luther, I feel Luther, and you used to feel Marvin. And we used to say Marvin every time we played Marvin. Tony would say, man, we miss him, and I'd make fun of you.
Yeah.
But I get it because I definitely felt it with Luther, and definitely even more with Prince, because Prince, like you said, for us was like high school, college, and growing up. Prince has been a part, and it's weird because probably when you really think about it, Prince, unlike Michael and Whitney, and he actually was a part of our life when we were really young. And then maintained his ability to perform and everything up until now, So it's kind of like you had, like you said, soft and wet and head back then up to like now, which you're like, do I love this Prince songs? A couple of them are okay, but it's not the same. But he still was relevant, which is rare also, and especially I think for R&B or black music. Rockers, for whatever reason, the Rolling Stones are still on tour. You know what I mean?
Well, but you know what? The Rolling Stones are on tour because people like to hear the old stuff. They're not putting out anything new. You know what I'm saying? And with Prince, one of the reasons why Prince touches us so much. Prince was with us when we partied in the clubs. We danced to
Yes.
his music. He was with us in the bedroom when we made love to our women and men. Because Insatiable, those sexy songs like that. He was in the backyard when we had the family barbecue. His music all his music fit. I mean, not every song, but he had music for every situation. So he was always with us. Right. I mean, I remember when Purple Rain came out, everybody was interested, not so much the movie. They wanted to hear what his voice sounded like because we never knew what he sounded like speaking because we didn't have the internet. We didn't have those kinds of things. So those things didn't MTV, I don't even remember if it was around. It might have been just a baby if it was. We didn't know what the man's voice sounded like.
Yeah. He definitely was. He was like the black rock star that maintained. I mean, everything, and I think that's the other thing. I mean, I think it's the sensational stories are tough because he was so private that we didn't know. You just didn't know. He kept everything tight.
What's funny, so Mark, is about Purple Rain for just a second. Purple Rain, watching it now was 2 hours of a lousy movie. You know what I'm saying? Because think about this for a second. The best actor in that movie was Billy Sparks. Because all he did was go, man, the only people who care about your music is you, man. That was,
Wait a minute, Tony. Wait a minute, Tony. Clarence, whatever the third, whatever. You gonna dog him, man?
Well, his role was so small, significant but small.
He was a troubled dad, right?
And now everybody looks like they were reading,
except Morris Day. Morris Day was funny.
Well, yeah, but
how's the family?
But I mean, for the most part, it's a pretty bad movie. But it was and I think that we were intrigued. One, because it was Prince, like we never saw him before. Yeah, we got his music, but we got to see him speak.
Yes,
and that was kind of a deal. And since we're talking about entertainment,
the imagery was amazing. We'll say that at least.
It was amazing.
Him, the chicks, the motorcycle, the purple, that part of it was revolutionary. No pun intended.
Right. Got you.
And the music scenes were great.
We're talking about entertainment, though. Just shout out to Tupac's mom, who passed away last night.
I was going to ask you. It's weird, man. It just seems like death is upon us for some reason.
Well, but you know what? I mean,
it always is, but it just seems like.
Yeah, the woman was 69 years old. She had a heart attack. It was just her time. I mean, we could have used her another 10, 15, 20 years. Absolutely. We don't want to lose anybody. But we have to remember, as we get older, the people who are older than us get older too.
Well, the good news is, in reverse death news, John Starks is alive. No, actually, what's the character's name in Game of Thrones?
Oh shit, I don't know. I never watched that.
Spoiler alert! Yeah, they brought him back.
Okay. I've never seen Game of Thrones, so it's not my
great movie.
So,
let's see what else. So Tony, we got that. We got Tony's in Dallas. I'm in New York.
And that's the cool thing. Mark is actually in the #1 radio market on the planet, and he's on from 7 to midnight. He's on at night in a city that thrives on nightlife.
It's a city that doesn't sleep.
To me, it's so cool.
They sleep on my show.
Well, yeah, but you're the last one standing, man. So that speaks volumes.
Now, also, if you haven't seen our show Men on Scandal, Tony, Troy, and myself, we do Men on Scandal, which basically is a review of Scandal. Let's take a quick look if you haven't seen that.
A recap of the latest episode of Scandal from a male point of view. In Washington, D.C. is Troy Johnson. Marc Clarke is in New York, where concrete... What did Jay-Z say in that song? Alicia Keys, concrete something?
Made of...
Yeah, something. I don't know.
Concrete jungle.
Where dreams are made of.
Where dreams are made of. We're pathetic, man.
Tony, we'll get you one that you know. Broken glass everywhere.
Yeah, Tony knows it. Tony
knows that one.
Hotel, motel. Man. Anyway, it's Men on Scandal, a recap of the latest episode of Scandal. This one's called Pencils Down. I am Tony Scott in Dallas. And this one starts out with the Liberty Report with Sally Langston. I sure be glad when her comeuppance comes to her, man.
Yes.
You know, I'm kind of sick of Sally Langston, man.
I am.
I just resent the fact that she murdered her husband and she just basically got away scot-free and then got this lucrative job hosting the Liberty Report. I just resent the hell out of that, man.
Well, who else is going to introduce?
Tony, that's Men on Scandal, and
it's funny that show actually was going to be my wife and myself, but she said yes, but she wasn't into it, and so
the passion wasn't there.
Yeah, and so I was like, 2 days before the first show was going to come on that we were going to do, and so I thought about you, and I call you. You said, yeah, but I can't do it this week because you were auditioning for something to be like a dead body on something on the ID channel or something. And I was like, okay, well, so you said get Troy. I said, all right, so we got Troy, and then Troy did so well, he hit it out of the park that it just became a 3-man show. And it went, and from there, it hasn't been easy. Now we're all blessed enough that we're all employed right now, so it makes it kind of hard for us.
We went from all being underemployed to be having jobs.
Yeah, so we're like 2 episodes behind that we need to catch up on, and we will. We just need to pencil out some time and get it done. But we have a ball doing it, have a great time doing it, and have been retweeted by Shonda Rhimes. And Troy and I went to the Scandal Convention in L.A. a couple of summers ago and had a great time. You were just starting working there at Radio 103.9, and we had a great time, man.
And Tony actually got some top from Quinn, so it was very interesting. I'm playing. I'm just playing, Deshauna. Tony did not get no top from nobody. We're past that. We're the old guys now. We're the funky balls guy now. That is happening.
I mean, to me, it's like and people say I don't think I'm a rare guy. I think I'm just a guy who happens to be in love with his wife.
And tired.
But I don't. To me, when women say all men cheat, that's just a reflection of their pathetic life.
Ooh, damn. Ooh, blazer.
I mean, it is. I mean, all the men cheat, which speaks volumes about the people you have in your life.
Yeah, well, now, Tony, now remember.
I know men who cheat. I understand that. But
Tony, remember, we're old men.
Well, I understand that. But
Let's not have this conversation when we're 27.
But that's not what that's not what they say. They say all men cheat, which, by the way, isn't mathematically possible. But it's just doesn't. It's not mathematically possible. It's like the people who say that, these hate mongers who say that Muslims are going to destroy the world. Look, if Muslims are going to take over the world, if Muslims wanted to take over the world, that had happened like 500 years ago because there are 10 times more Muslims in this world than there are anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, the Muslims have, Tony, it's Muslim. Don't say Muslim.
Okay, Muslim. Okay, all right, fine. But they're 10 times more than anything else. So let's be realistic about this. These people are peaceful people. They don't want, just let them do what they do. If they wanted to take over the world, they'd have done it a long time ago, and you would have had to have loved it.
So, Tony, what's your take? Speaking of that, what's going to happen who will be our next president?
It's going to be Hillary Clinton. I think that Bernie Sanders giving it a good try. I just think there's not enough time. If he had another year, he probably could take her out. Now this bar is.
You mean? I thought you meant another time for his life. Damn.
No. I think he'd be an interesting president. But
he'd get nothing done.
The GOP they don't have a candidate. Donald Trump will never be president. I've tried to jump.
I don't know, Tony. I don't know, buddy.
Be president. He won't be president because even if he got the delegates, something will happen at that convention that's never happened in this country. Now, I'm not saying something violent's going to happen. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying something's going to happen politically at that convention that's never happened in this country because the GOP is going to find a way to screw him out of the nomination because they don't want him to be the president. Because if he becomes the president, a Republican will not be president again for 20 years. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
so they don't want him president, and Ted Cruz can't get out of his own way, like Donald Trump.
I think that what they'll just do to stop the craziness is he will be the nominee, and they'll just vote for Hillary. That's what I think. But the thing that's frightening about Trump is the crazies will be voting. The crazies will be voting
Yeah, but the crazies are not that big in number as the media wants us to believe it is.
I don't know, man. I don't know, man. These state after state, he's kicking ass, though.
Yeah,
You know, we keep saying that, but
we all know that most people don't vote in the primary anyway.
Man, I think here's my concern.
I mean, look, here's
Hillary.
When Obama won the first time, John McCain's going to kick his butt. It's going to be a landslide thing because Obama's not a politician and John McCain is a war hero who has the country the interest truly in his heart. And then what happened?
Different though. John McCain had no energy. Hillary has low energy. I don't know if people. I'm concerned that people won't vote.
Mitt Romney was a good-looking Republican, had the swag. Who we thought had swag until President Obama showed him what swag was, and that was a worse beating than John McCain.
Well, let me ask you this: if Trump becomes president, what do you think will happen?
I don't think he would last the 4 years. I think he would be impeached because he's just crooked. He's just not a very honest man, in my opinion. I just don't see him.
I will go on record as saying I am concerned. I'm concerned. Okay, let's see what else we got. So Tony, what's your take on what's his name, Tunsil, the kid that got drafted, and they posted the weed smoking on the thing.
See, there again is the result. There are consequences to your actions, right? Now, he could have been playing around. That pipe couldn't even been lit. But the fact that he had it in his hand cost him $3 million minimum.
Oh, minimum.
Because he put himself in that position. Whether he was actually smoking the pipe or just holding it, pretending he was smoking the pipe, doesn't matter at this point.
I've got breaking news on that, Tony, by the way.
All right, go ahead, man.
A lot of people were like, many think that it was the video that dropped him. But the rumors are saying a little birdie told me that his teammate, I don't know if you recall his teammate he was a defensive line prospect who remember fell out the window. Mm-hmm. He was high on that weed, the fake weed, whatever. Synthetic. He was high on that. Yeah. He fell out of the window, climbed over a wall, and fell 3 stories from the wall, and actually did not get injured really, but the icing on the cake for Tunsil was he was in the room. Yeah. Many don't know that. Yeah. Anyway,
you put yourself.
I thought that was going to get a big reaction, Tony. I thought you were going to really be like, really? You didn't give a shit.
Well, you know what?
Okay.
But I mean, it's another story of somebody young who has the potential to change their world forever in a positive way, mucked it up.
First of all, why would you go to Ole Miss anyway? There's no way in hell any of my children go to no damn Mississippi. Old Mississippi, Mississippi. No.
But you're not from Mississippi.
That is true. Thank you.
Everybody's
my daddy was from Mississippi, though.
Your daddy was from Los Angeles.
No, they're from Mississippi, really.
Oh, really? I thought he was from L.A.
They're from that crooked letter I.
But you know what? I mean, there are people in this world, in Mississippi, going to Ole Miss is a huge thing. It's a huge thing. There are people who are in Mississippi who will never leave that state.
Well, and in all fairness, people go for their reasons. I remember when I first met Allison. We were dating. And, Allison has her master's from University of South Carolina, which I was like, why would you go to university? But she said she went because her mother wasn't allowed to go. So I was like, well, okay, that's interesting. That's an interesting take. Okay. Because I would not go to no damn University of South Carolina. I wouldn't go to no University of Georgia. No, sir.
So she's a gamecock.
Pardon me?
Allison is a gamecock.
That's my wife you're talking about. Yes, she is a gamecock.
She's a proud gamecock.
Yeah, probably, and I'm not, sadly. So look, man, we know you have a job to do, so we're gonna keep you, Tony. How can people reach you?
Well, I'm all over the place, man. I'm on the radio here at Smooth
Oh,
Art.
wait a minute. Tony, what's this new iTony thing? iTony Tech, is that new?
Well, you know what? Yes and no. As you know, I've always loved technology. And
Yes.
I do a show called iTony Tech on YouTube. It's like 3 minutes long, and it's geared to people who are passive geeks. So if you're looking for information on how to add a hard drive to your computer, yeah, I'm not that guy. I'm not that. I give you easy to understand tech news that involves something very simple. I just created a Facebook page called iTony Tech, just separate from everything else I do, to try and expand that brand even more. So that's where that comes from.
I love the fact that the guy who used to wash your car and rob you with a whip in Galveston, Texas, is now a nerd.
I was always
God is good.
I was always a nerd.
Or a nerdo.
El Nerdo, yes.
Tony Scott, who told me in St. Louis, man, I don't know about no damn computers. when I was encouraging him to get one because my $25,000 salary wouldn't allow me to. Man, I don't know about no damn computers.
Man,
he got one, and the rest is history.
Well, I mean, I love technology, and I love everything about it, and new media and stuff like that. I'm very passionate about it. So to that end, I've got the iTony Tech thing. But I'm on the radio here in Dallas, Smooth RB 105.7, which is KRNB. I'm on from 2 to 7 Monday through Friday. And in addition to that, I have Tony Scott Media, which encompasses really everything else that I do, which is I interview book authors who don't have a Simon & Schuster, maybe they're self-published, but they need a video component to what they do. I can help people out with that. And by doing an interview, or a small business that has an event coming up, things like that, I can do Skype interviews, things like that. So I do that. We do our Men on Scandal, which is a recap of Scandal, like Mark said, from a male point of view, with myself, Mark, and Troy Johnson, who is at WBAL in Baltimore and WHUR in DC and NBC4 in DC, and so we do that. We also do Men on Empire, which we got really behind on when everybody went back to work. And then we had done Men on Everything, we haven't done in a while, that I would really like to get back to doing, which is a pop culture show where we offer our take on the biggest stories of the week. So we do that. And then I do content on the radio station, like the Tony's Tea, the Entertainment Report, things like that. And when a celebrity comes to town, I'll do an interview with them and record it video-wise and put it up like that. So I do a lot of things like that. So Tony Scott Media on Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, Meerkat, and YouTube. It's just, I think you can find me. The official is This and That Media, but you can just search for Tony Scott and you'll find me. And
Tony Scott Media.
Okay. Yeah, and I do a lot of different things. Enjoy doing every bit of it, and hopefully people can check me out and enjoy what I do. And if you're interested in doing it, if I can help, let me know. We can work something out.
Tony Scott, my buddy, my friend. I knew the show would be fun. I knew it would be entertaining, and we've been holding on to our 5 viewers for quite some time. Go ahead.
I know. Val Jones. Val Jones has been a big supporter of us. I see her here on the YouTube feed. Who's
we got some hearts going. Is that Val hearting it up?
No, I think that's someone else hearting it up. I think it might be Val. But I think that's someone else. So
it's all about it's all about Cume, gentlemen. Cume.
It's all about Cume.
Okay. Marcel, thank you so much. Media.
Marcel could do a webinar on how to do this and this technology, because he's got it down. To be able to do something like this on multi-platforms is something that needs to be sold. It needs to be, a webinar, $30 a pop, man, and teach people how to do this, man.
So Marcel. Marcel's a hustler.
The hustler.
All right. Well, and who knows?
Clarke,
hey,
thank you, man.
It might just be. I might be doing this full time. Who knows? Thanks again, everybody who watches On the Mark. Thanks, Tony. Love you, man. Marcel, love you, dude. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day. I'm getting ready to do an interview with the community of New York City for In Focus, Sundays at 7 a.m. But I'll see you tonight on my show, 7 to midnight, and radio1039ny.com. And I will see you next week. Have a great one. All right, Tony. Peace.
All right, man.
Call in right now.